What is up, everybody? It is your boy Stein, and it's convention time again. This weekend, or this past weekend, we stepped into Naka-Kon 2023 at the Overland Park Convention Center. I like to call it in Kansas City, Missouri, but technically it's in OP, Kansas. And obviously, I got some video and photos to show you, but I also just have a list of things that I want to go over, briefly talk about, give my thoughts and opinions on the convention, and just try to get a couple more eyes on it so that we can keep on expanding this anime / convention family to get more people out to enjoy the festivities. The first thing I wanted to talk about, though, was the changes to the venue. Not structurally or anything like that, but just as far as how they used the space. They mixed up a couple of things. The main thing being where they held the registration at, where they did their big events at, like the raves, the big concerts, stuff like that. It was in a different spot. I'm pretty sure. I may be wrong in that, actually. I don't think the vendor room was in a different spot. I think that would remain the same. But yeah, just a simple change of the how they set up the ballrooms for the bigger events worked out really well in their favor. I feel like you were able to get inside of the ballroom fairly well, and you were fairly comfortable while you were in there. The biggest event where I noticed this at was the cosplay contest. I'm gonna be honest. So we came to wait in line at the cosplay contest about 15 minutes before it started, and we were outside. So the line snaked through the room outside of the grand ballroom, and it went outside. So in my head, I was like, okay, well, we're not gonna be able to get into this, and if we do get in, then we're gonna have to be standing in the back or something that isn't ideal. But we were able to get in and have a seat and be comfortable. That is a big change up from previous years, because in previous years, even if you were to come early, sometimes you're not guaranteed a seat. You'll have to stand, and then you're standing on top of people, you're standing in people's way. So I applaud them for some of those changes. They did work out very nicely. I remember last year I talked a little bit about it feeling like they were starting to run out of space. And with a couple of these changes that they made, I actually think that they kind of rectified a little bit of them. I mean, there was still a lot of people out, which is awesome, but it did not feel as tight and as cramped as it has in recent years. The next thing I'm going to talk about is some of the food. The food is basically the same. They had a couple of different dishes. Sometimes they have pizza. They always have like the chicken tenders and whatever else, and they always have the ramen. Ramen is very delicious, by the way, and it only costs $10. So that's a nice thing. And then they have the regular convention food, like inside the vendor room and all that type of stuff. All of that remains basically the same. It's what you would expect from going to a convention and buying food. We didn't have any of like the cafe food where you could sit down and dine, and so we didn't get any of that food, but we did try the ramen, which was, like I said, good. The rice noodles with the meat on the side, I don't know exactly what they called it, and that was okay. And once again, my thoughts on food, personal preference, but I think that there are a wide range of options. So if you don't want to go anywhere, if you don't want to DoorDash or order something for delivery, there's plenty there that you can buy and eat on. Next thing we'll talk about is the vendor room. The vendor room was good. There was a lot of open space. I don't know if that was by design, and it may have been, but I feel like they could have fit a little bit more within the space. Once again, they may have done that by design, just to give people a little bit more room to maneuver. But there were a couple of spots where I'm like, man, we could have had a booth here, we could have had a booth here, we could have split this booth because they're not using that much space, and I had something here. All in all, the vendor room was really great. You're probably going to be seeing footage right now and some pictures. A wide array of options and things for you to look at. Lots of cool stuff, posters, knickknacks, the art, little decals and little trinkets. If you don't want to spend a lot of money, there was a lot of little things that you could purchase that were really cool that you could wear on your belt or strap to your bag or whatever the case may be. I feel like that there was a lot of stuff for everybody, no matter what your interests are, and that's really what you're trying to accomplish with a vendor room. Just it doesn't matter who comes in that door. There's something for them that they might want to purchase, whether they're wanting to spend $200 or whether they're wanting to spend $5. So I thought that was really cool. The concerts and the raves were really awesome. It was a little weird that Saturday's rave started at 12:30, and I understand that they had the concert leading into it, but not everybody wants to see a concert. Not everybody wants to see that concert. So it was a little weird for that to dig into the rave time, and like I said, there may have been a reason for that, but I thought that was a little weird. But the Friday rave was awesome. We were in there with a lot of people in there having fun, dance circles, the whole 9 yards, what you would expect to see at a convention rave. And same thing Saturday, and then there was a little gathering in the courtyard at around Saturday night, and it seemed like people were having fun. I have a couple of pictures from that also. The game rooms were game rooms. They do seem like they were a little bit smaller than last year. Like the actual video game room seemed like it didn't have it, not smaller, but didn't have as much. But it still had a lot of quality stuff. You still had your VR, still had your video games, all that. And same thing with the arcade room. You still have all your arcade games. Typing of the Dead was in there, which was really cool for me because I really like that game. It was a little odd game. And then there was also, and this is the first time I've seen them do this, they had arcade games on the floor, out on the main floor that you could just walk up and sit down at. And I thought that was really cool. It was a little bit of a change up, just if you're walking past, you maybe didn't go into the arcade room and you see these games here, you sit down and play, I kind of touched on this earlier, but the attendance, I feel like it was really good. It was more than last year, just from optics. Obviously, I don't know any exact numbers, but the attendance was nice. Big, diverse crowd, and it was really cool to be a part of. I do have just a recommendation, and I don't want for this video to go too long, but I do have a recommendation. that the hotel, and I've never noticed this before, so staying at the hotel and just walking around the hotel, and they have a patio area. It has like a TV, like fire pit type things out there. And it would be really cool to host something out there, like to maybe have a panel, maybe do a screening room out there or something like that. Something just to utilize that space, because it's a really cool chill area to just go out there and chill and hang out. But it would be cool to have somebody host something. I don't know if it's if they just don't do that because they're not able to, or if nobody has had that idea to do that, or what the case may be, but that would be really cool to see. Like I was saying earlier about the cosplay contest, it was really cool, really fun. A lot of good cosplays. I have some video and pictures from that. The big Snorlax was probably my favorite. I really liked the Alucard and Saria also. There were a lot of really good ones. So kudos and applause to everybody that put in some hard work and did their thing at the cosplay contest. Just speaking overall about the convention this year, I enjoyed myself a lot, and I feel like it is gradually starting to return to the Naka-Kon that we all know. It was definitely better than last year. It was definitely better than the year before, and that's really the thing that you can ask, is that it keeps progressing and going towards what it was pre-pandemic. And I feel like that's going to be a process, but steps are definitely going in the right direction. Just little things that here and there that I think would make this even better. But it was an amazing experience. I feel like Naka-Kon is back. I feel like if you had any thoughts about not going, I would recommend that you go. I would definitely recommend that you check it out. It's one of my favorite cons to go to each year, and this year was no different. If you have any thoughts or questions, don't forget to put them down in the comments below. I respond to everything, and if you have any questions about the con specifically, put that below. I'm sure that, people will give you some insight, and I'll give you some of my insight. Don't forget to hit that like button. It helps out a lot. And subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get notified whenever we put up new content. And on that, I'm going to catch y'all later.